entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Greetings to everyone watching live and everyone watching after the fact. Shout out to the faithful and salute to the patrons. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I am joined once again here tonight by my man, my fellow YouTuber and colleague, great friend, and to me, he is the definitive Transformers expert on the scene. Give it up for my man, RandomBlackGamer. How's it going, man?
Oh, man, you always hit me with them epic rollouts, man. I don't even know how to do a follow-up with this, but I am doing good. First and foremost, I just want to say, yes, I noticed that I'm looking weird right now. You ain't got to just point that out. It was the last time, last minute thing where I was getting my hair done. I was like, fuck it, we're going to do it live. I'm just going to roll out with the Devil's Halo and just rock out with my Larry on this review, man. Like, it's just awesome, man. I appreciate him for having me.
Yes, sir. Always, always. So yes, me and my man RandomBlackGamer are teaming up once again are we closing out the trilogy though? I mean, is this the final one? We gonna have to talk about that because Netflix said it's like, it's the War for Cybertron Trilogy. ... Wink, wink, nod, nod. I'm like, wait a minute now. We might have to circle back up and do this again. But essentially, we have teamed up to bring you all reviews of the last 2 seasons of the Netflix original animated series, the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy. And this is the final season, Chapter 3, Transformers Kingdom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give you all our thoughts on the season. We're going to get into some details now. The season's been out for about a week now, right? So hopefully you guys have had a chance to see it. This is going to be a spoiler review. Real quick, that's why I think you got some feedback on your end.
On my end? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can adjust the audio a little bit to make sure. Let me know, like say something and you can. I think I'll
testing. 1, 2. Yeah, I'm still hearing it on my end.
Okay, hold on. Let me check my mic settings. Sorry, guys. Okay, I see that I got everything set in regards to this. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I was just hearing feedback from myself.
Okay, can you hear anything now in terms of feedback?
A little bit.
Reverb.
Not as much as a little bit.
Okay.
Anywho, but yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna give you all our overall thoughts on the season, then we're gonna go into more details about specific pieces, things that we want to talk about, things we want to bring up. And as I mentioned before, this will be spoiler, so hopefully you guys have had a chance to check it out. If time permits tonight, we will go ahead and take some questions. If you guys got any questions for me or my boy RandomBlackGamer, but in case we run short on time, you guys can always drop a super chat and we'll make sure to read your comment and answer your question before the end of tonight's broadcast. If you guys also want to support the channel, you can go ahead and donate via Cash App and PayPal. Links to those are in the description box below. And since it's a review, you guys know how we do. I got to go ahead and read you all my rundown. So by all means, click that description box below. Read along with your boy. All right, so this is our review of the 2021 Netflix original anime series, Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy, Chapter 3, Kingdom, based on the Transformers franchise by Hasbro and Takara Tomy. The series was produced by Rooster Teeth, Polygon Pictures, and Entertainment One, which is actually a new production company that also worked on season 2. We forgot to mention it in the last one. The series was written by F.J. DeSanto, George Krstic, Gavin Hignight, Brandon M. Easton, and a new writer to the team, Tim Sheridan, with DeSanto also serving as the series showrunner. And brief synopsis of season 3: worlds collide when the Maximals and the Predacons join the fight, coming together with the Autobots and Decepticons in an epic battle that will alter their destinies forever. So the big thing about this season is that this is the season that incorporates the Beast Wars continuity and introduces it into this. I think by now we can say that it's an alternate timeline, right?
Definitely.
Yes, like because that was one of the things we were trying to figure out with the prior two series is like, oh, is it a retelling? Is it like a reimagining? Because one of the biggest gripes we've had was the fact that it did not adhere itself very much to like the pre-established continuity. But with this season, it seems like it's more established. It's like, oh no, this is an alternate timeline. Because when the Beast Wars are introduced in this season, it seems like they come from their respective continuity. So that was one of the interesting things. But so with the synopsis out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to my boy Random Black Gamer. Dude, start us off. What were your overall thoughts on season 3?
Hey man, Larry, it's like you already knew my viewpoint going in. I was not interested in the slightest because I was let down twice with the first two series. The first one was actually pretty decent. You know, it did a lot of setting up and stuff like that, and I like what they were trying to build up to. But the second season was kind of like muddled in a lot of like continuity errors and a lot of just, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? It's like one thing that this series kind of suffers from is just setting up a lot of things, because when you're trying to set up stuff and you only have so many toys to play with, you know, you kind of tend to trip over your feet a little bit. And that's unfortunately what happened to the first two seasons. But with this one right here, the one that I was reluctant to watch, the one that you said, hey, I ain't gonna lie, this shit is kind of hitting a little hard. I was like, let me go ahead and see what they talking about so we can get this review popping. And I was not disappointed in the slightest, man. Like, I honestly wish that this could have just been a series in and of itself on its own, because it does a lot of stuff that makes you want to look forward to what's going to happen in the future, if there is a possible future for this. It's obviously an alternate timeline, like you mentioned. And it's something that I wouldn't mind seeing fleshed out a little more. You know, I feel like this right here is like, since we were at the end, we were at the peak, Mr. DeSanto, he actually had a little more freedom to work with stuff. And it didn't seem like they were limited on all the different kind of characters either, like the other ones, because there was a lot of like clone characters that we saw that were like named and stuff like that. But this one right here seems to have a pretty fleshed out, pretty, utilized roster of characters. So definitely feeling this one a lot. Hopefully they just expand into some other kind of trilogy with it.
Yeah, man. It was funny because I remember when I had hit you up about it, I was like, oh man, because when I was getting ready to schedule the stream, I was like, yo, Esper, did you check out Kingdom yet? And you was like, dude, like, no, I haven't. Like, I think it was it was like the Sunday after it came out or whatever. And you was like, no, man, I haven't even watched it yet. I was like, word? But you remember what I told you? I said, dude, funny enough, I'm feeling it, bro. And that's why I was like, man, we're going to trip our audience. We're going to trip their heads up because we've been negative.
We have
the first two seasons. We've been harsh on those seasons, dude. This one, I actually dug. I dug it, and dude, like you said, and like I mentioned earlier, what sold this season for me was the alternate timeline premise. Once they solidified that, I was like, okay, then everything is free, it's fair game at this point, right? And then here's the other thing too. Season 3, correct me if I'm wrong, because I only watched it one time, but correct me if I'm wrong. Optimus Primal revealed that not only were they currently in an alternate timeline, but the timeline that we saw unfold in the first 2 seasons was different. Than the one from the Maximals and the Predacons original history.
Yeah.
So we've always been in an alternate timeline this whole time.
Oh yes, man.
So yeah, once they established that, I was like, okay, nah, like now I can kind of ease up on the first 2 seasons because I'm like, okay, now I see what it is we're doing. The other thing I was surprised about was the Galvatron cameo in season 2. I didn't think would be as important as it ended up being, and the Dark Universe, that was as important to the story as it ended up being. So like all of those things, like the way they kind of pieced this little story together, and how they worked in those elements of the mythos, I think really, like you said, this should have been what the show should have been, like from jump. Like we should have just started off from this point, and oh man, and we'll talk about where they left off at, bruh.
That was something else, man. I'm like, like it's a payoff season. I'll say that it's a payoff season for those who are very patient with it, and just wanted to see how this is going to go, especially with the characters that, in quite honesty, haven't really been getting a lot of recognition until now. I feel like this is part of a bigger rollout, because I'm not sure if you follow the movie side of things, but they are coming out with a Beast Wars related live action movie called Rise of the Beast. So I would like to think that this is a marketing ploy in a sense, and they're just trying to get more modern audiences familiarized with the Beast era character, which I'm assuming that, Beast Wars was your foray into Transformers like it was for me, because that was the first thing that really just got me into it until my mom was like, Optimus? That gorilla's Optimus? I thought he was a truck. And I was like, that was a truck? Okay, I got to go back and watch that, and then the big expansion of the Transformers lore. But yeah, man, this shit, I am just very surprised at how this is going. And it kind of makes me look forward to seeing how these characters mesh well in the live action universe with the original alumni of Transformers. But yeah, like shit's crazy.
So let's go ahead and pretty much give the people a rundown about what the story for this season is, and I think I can sum it up pretty nicely. So essentially, what happens in this season, we pick up where we left off from the end of Earthrise, where essentially the Autobots and Decepticons crash land on Earth, right? And that's when we got the teaser, because we saw the raptor, the velociraptor, hiding in the brush and whatnot. And that was the teaser for this season. What we end up discovering, though, is so not only did they finally crash land on Earth back in, I guess you could say, prehistoric times or whatnot, like they do in the original continuity, but we learned that when they escaped the dark universe, they actually time traveled. So they're not even on Earth at the original time they were supposed to. And then it's also an alternate timeline, because when they are finally joined with the Maximals and the Predacons, they too time traveled specifically to track down the Autobots and Decepticons that were from the first two seasons. So that's the other kind. That's the cool thing about it too. It's like we're lost in time, sort of thing. So essentially, what happens is once these respective parties meet each other, so Decepticons and the Predacons team up, Autobots and the Maximals team up. Essentially, it's the fight is a two-pronged fight. The Decepticons and the Predacons are in possession of the Golden Disc, which we remember from season 2 was the disc that had Galvatron's information that he was trying to give to Megatron, who is his younger self, hashtag, right? Rep. But essentially it was Galvatron's plot to change the future, because he's like, if I can give what I know about the future to my younger self, he'll be able to change the events that led me here. That's number one. Number two, and this is what we find out this season, the Predacons knew about that. And they were the ones who took up the initiative to deliver the disc to Megatron in the first place, to aid in that quest. Meanwhile, the Maximals, they followed the Predacons there because they're trying to stop the Predacons from giving the Decepticons the disc. Meanwhile, the Autobots are still on the hunt for the Allspark, which, lo and behold, landed on Earth. They were able to follow it through the dark universe to Earth, to that time, that specific time too. So it's not even that they lost the Allspark in all the time travel either. No, it's there. So their mission is just the same that it's always been. And then, of course, with Megatron, once he has the disc, he uses that in his quest to finally get the Allspark. So that's pretty much the whole story in a nutshell. Did I miss anything?
You pretty much hit the nail with the hammer, man. Like everything was pretty much summarized perfectly, in my opinion. That's as good as it gets.
Except for the little because there's some subplots, and I'm pretty sure there's some of those we'll get into. So what's the first thing you want to talk about in terms of the story?
Well, in terms of the story, man, I just like how, this basically just explains, like what you were mentioning, Galvatron's inclusion in the story, because at first it kind of felt like it was a little forced because there weren't really that much explanations actually given or alluded to in that second part. But in this third part, this makes perfect sense. This is a perfect bookend for that character and stuff like that, especially if you already have preconceived notions. You already know where Galvatron basically comes from. He's essentially enslaved to the Harbinger of Chaos, which is Unicron. And, in a way, this is kind of more of I don't want to say a selfish endeavor, because it only pertains to him regaining his freedom in a sense, or ensuring that his old self maintains the freedom. But it's a good, way of just utilizing him. And then that whole dark void or dark space,
the dark universe,
that he was, the dark universe, which also kind of makes sense too, because like with Unicron, he is a multiversal being, so it would make sense that he would be somewhere in between those realms. And he seems like he has a lot of stuff at play where he's kind of using everybody as a pawn in a sense. He kind of wants things to play out. One of the things that I'm still a little curious about is like, okay, if you're going to introduce Unicron, you have to kind of mention his brother in a sense, which is Primus, which is basically Cybertron's heart, which I don't know if they're going to establish that. I was like, why didn't y'all mention this? Like, I would like to think that y'all are going to allude to this, but unfortunately they didn't. So it kind of makes it a little bit one-sided to the people who are familiar with the lore.
Dude, that's the one thing about what they've been doing with the new series that always, because dude, what is the Allspark supposed to be? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they treat the Allspark as if it's Primus's core, and it's like, no, because
the Matrix is supposed to be Primus in a sense.
Well, but I mean, I always thought. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Primus's core was the core of Cybertron.
It was, but it's like that energy was later transferred over to the Matrix. What I'm saying?
Which is why that was the only thing that could beat Unicron.
Yeah, because Primus is responsible for creating all the different Cybertronians, and the Primes themselves are the first lineage before the rest of the Cybertronians. So, in a sense, that's one of the reasons why Unicron wants to destroy the Matrix, because it houses his brother, which is the one who can ultimately defeat him. Yep. So that's one of the things where I'm like, okay, so are we not going to establish that the Matrix has like a bigger role in this, or is it going to be all about the Allspark? Which I'm totally down for it if both of them work in tandem with one another. But which they sort. I mean, we started seeing that because because we started seeing that the Matrix was the only thing that allowed them to find the Allspark, to locate the Allspark in that forest, because the Allspark, remember, it created those defenses where essentially everyone was in an illusion, in a fog, right? And that was sort of the Allspark trying to hide itself from them. Matrix was the only thing that could locate it. And then even when they got inside the tower, the Matrix was the only thing that allowed them to actually be able to put their hands on the Allspark. Right.
So they've already started using it as sort of like the key to the Allspark. But you're right in the sense that we have yet to really explore like what the Matrix itself is capable of, just outside of being something that gives you access to something else.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I said, man, like if they're willing to expand this, I don't care if it's a comic book. If you want to just use this to start off a comic book line, I am interested in reading it. Because I do want to see what Unicron's bigger role is in all of this. In terms of like just the story in and of itself, like the overall premise, I just really love how they were able to just make these characters just meet up like that, with the Beast cast, it's like a lot of core elements, were lifted from the old ones, but there were some issues that I had with a certain character that I just felt like it was just underserved completely and not what he needs to be. I think you already... Huh?
You talk about Dinobot?
Not him per se. I didn't necessarily have a problem with him. Basically a dinosaur related character though.
Oh, Megatron?
Yeah.
Oh.
Megatron, like I don't know if you want me to get into it now, but
I kind of he was a religious zealot. Like,
he was a religious zealot, but that was not the Megatron that I thought. Like I don't know. I feel like
true. That is true, but this version of him, I totally bought it. I was like, I just wish he had his own overarching goals, And I'm like, okay, man, it's like, do you want Megatron to have a dick so you can suck it like the original G1 Megatron? Because that's what it's boiling down to. It's like, oh, Megatron, I should get down and just, suck your balls. Like, I don't know, man. Like, and then, I already stressed how I wasn't really feeling the change of voices. I was like, ain't no way he was going to top David K. And I hated that they tried to go with that, with this sense of soliloquy that he tried to speak with, but the tone, like the voice, just does not match the body whatsoever, and I did not like that. I had the same issue with Dinobot.
Yeah, you know what? Is it just me, or like, because I said in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, you have Tigatron whose voice doesn't match him, you have Dinobot whose voice doesn't match him. If they were to swap those two voices, perfect match made in heaven.
Well, dude, because I forget the actor's name, but dude, like
Scott McNeil.
Scott
McNeil. Like Scott McNeil could have easily came in and voiced half the roster of these characters.
Yeah, but he's not in this one though.
He's not.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Scott McNeil did the original voice, but no, my boy who does Dinobot in this one, that's all, dude. Every time I was like, that's Ebon from Static.
Oh yeah,
that's Ebon from. I was like, dude, that's all I heard was Ebon from Static.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's who that was. Hang on, let me pull that up real quick. The voice cast, but yeah, that's who that was. Ebon from Static.
Yeah, it's like all the most of the characters they grew on me, like the voices. Like I was kind of bummed that we didn't get Gary Chalk back, but like this is an alternate take, so I'm not expecting everything to just be tick for tack like the original. But Megatron, they could have did a lot better. It's like you don't.
Yeah. Yes.
That sounded bratty. Like I was like, this dude sounds like a delinquent in a sense compared to a very huge noble, like this weird kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, let me see. So that was. Let me see. Where's Dinobot? Oh yeah, that was Chris Calico.
Okay.
Yeah, and doing, like I said, every time I heard, I'm like, dude, that's Ebon from Static.
I didn't even think about that. I did not think about that at all, man. That's cool.
No, I mean, and he's a good voice actor, but not for Dinobot though. Like you say, he should have been Tiger.
He should have. I think both of those characters were played by brothers, if I'm not mistaken, like some black dudes. Except one of them just had a little more gruff in his voice, and Tigatron that didn't match him. That should have went straight to Dinobot.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to let me see. I'm looking at the voice cast. Well, you know what, dude? I actually didn't mind. Justin Luther as Optimus Prime. I thought he
did a good job. I'm just more used to the more like militant kind of sounding take command. But like for the tone that this show has, I'm not sure how well that could have worked. So right. I will say that that does work for this portrayal of the character. And I also want to say this is a return to true form for these characters because they were the ones who ushered in the whole CGI animation element. Mm-hmm. So it's just good to see them back with a fresh coat of paint with updated visuals.
Yeah.
Rhinox, good voice casting.
Yeah.
I couldn't complain.
And I liked old boy that did Rat Trap.
Yeah, Rat Trap, it has like the little kind of New Yorker kind of accent or whatever. Very good on him too.
Yeah.
Still not better than my boy Scott McNeil, but
True. And Janine Carr as
Black
Arachna.
Yeah.
She was good. And I liked Aaron Ebers as Air Razor. Those were two of the best performances I thought.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the voice acting in this is like night and day compared to the ones in the previous like 2 seasons.
Dude, I thought your boy as Optimus was better.
Oh yeah, Jeff Fushi or whatever.
Yeah, like I thought he was better in this season than in the previous 2.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily as moody as those other two seasons. You know, it's like they're not trying to deliver this dark, compelling, oh, we're at the end of our ropes. That sound depressing and moody,
Yeah.
performance.
Now, okay. I mean, because we kind of just jumped into the character discussion. So let me ask you this: how do you feel about what are your thoughts on Optimus in this season? Because Optimus is very much like blaming himself for everything. He very much has I mean, would you call it survivor's guilt? I guess
You could say that, yeah.
And of course he blames himself for everything that happened, and I mean that's fine, but I mean he's like really really heavy on hard on himself this season. So what did you think about that whole thing?
I thought it was really good. I think this one kind of matches better, with his judgments from the compared to the other ones, because not only has he kind of like doomed his planet, but he's lost his the love of his life, which was Alita 1, and all the other people that kind of sacrificed themselves to make sure this stuff happened, like make sure his plans came to fruition. So it's just a lot of stuff, that kind of adds to that weight that's put on him. Oh, I've lost the planet in a sense. I don't know where I'm going. We're so far into the future now or whatever, and then I've lost all those other people that helped me with this. Like he's doomed them. And I think that's kind of like come on him. It makes more sense as opposed to the one where he's kind of reluctant to fight and stuff like that. He's just kind of doing stuff just off a whim, just kind of straight shooting with shit, which I hated. They just made him a dumb character in those other two arcs. But this one is the one that I like the most because there's a lot of guilt. Kind of makes me wish that this was applied to the live action version of Optimus Prime, because it's the same premise. It's the same story where Optimus like shot the Allspark off the planet and doomed Cybertron, except you never really get any kind of like payoff with that in those Babe films since they try to go big and stuff.
So what's funny though, this season was the first, because remember, dude, like Optimus' whole thing was get it off planet to get it away from Megatron, recover it, bring it back.
Right.
It's not until this season that the Maximals tell him it's like there is no Cybertron for you to bring that back to. Like it's gone. And Optimus had never considered that prior, like that he wouldn't be able to rectify it. It's like, nah, dude, like the planet is doomed. There is no saving it. And dude, another thing, kind of dipping back into the story portion, but dude, another thing I loved, I thought it was a genius idea, and it kind of adds to that whole thing we were talking about earlier with Primus. I love how the Allspark has a symbiotic relationship, with the Cybertronian. Like it needs them as much as they need it.
Exactly, because it's the creator. It's the creation, so it's almost like those souls have to return to recharge it. And I love that. Like, dude, I thought
that was genius. I was like, that's such a good idea. Dude, I thought that was genius.
Yeah, it's almost like it's kind of harking back to that whole thing with Beast Wars and becoming one with the Matrix again. Mm-hmm. Like after they pass off, it's almost like the souls that they have a place to go back to. It's like they kind of recharge the live stream of the planet or something like that, or the Allspark. So yeah, I really love that, man. This is
well, and dude, and here's the funny thing about it though. Like, is like they play it as almost this supernatural metaphysical type thing. It's like, but dude, let's be honest, all right? It's a law of physics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is simply transferred from one body to the next. And I mean, and that's a simple. Now, when we started getting ghosts, that's when I was like, okay, what is this?
Yeah, at first I was thinking that, okay, these are the side effects when you have a Cybertronian artifact merged with like Earth's life form or life force. Because, they've had a history where the Earth was known as this big old spot for a lot of energon, almost too much energon for the Maximals to handle. I thought it was going to play into that more. But it just seems like, oh, yeah, this is like the Allspark's last dying breath, kind of like just manifesting and affecting all the different characters in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I love that.
So let me see. Because I'm trying to think what else I wanted to like the big things I wanted to make sure I hit on. we did talk about the cast, talk about the characters,
Mhm.
and like I said, I do feel you on the Predacon Megatron. I just thought it fit
Yeah. I
for
guess we
his
can go.
personality.
I guess we can go more in detail on who was the shining star of the show, or at least the characters that were kind of more underutilized than we expected. Because like right off the bat, I can say that I think Cheetor wasn't really established that well,
And
he
he's
didn't
one of the
really.
biggest Beast
Yeah,
Wars characters.
he
Yeah.
is the Bumblebee to the Autobots. You know what I'm saying? Or what Bumblebee is to the Autobots. Yeah, it's like, and you thought that you're going to see more from him and get some of those Cheetor-esque kind of quotes like Ultra Tech or Ultra Gear, which is like his terminology for cool. But that personality really doesn't shine through that much. You don't really get those tropes from him. And I also want to talk about some of the pairings, like the pairing ups, because you get a lot of those, different little team ups and stuff like that. I felt like, if anything, if I was going to pair Starscream up with anybody, it would probably be a Pterosaur, which is like the pterodactyl, because he kind of eludes some of those duplicitous traits like Starscream does, where, he kind of wants to take command and do his own thing. I think that was a missed opportunity, but I think it kind of worked with Black Arachnia and
yeah.
So
I dug the pairing. I just thought they would have ended up doing more than they actually did.
Yeah,
because essentially what happens with that pair, they have to confront Megatron.
Yes,
and they made it seem like they were going to try and like avoid him or like try to escape on their own, or even heavens forbid, like even try to like steal the Allspark and get off world themselves. But it's like it still came down to them having to confront Megatron. But I love what we did with Starscream after when he got the disc. Dude, I love what we did with Starscream when he got the disc, boy. Starscream started freaking out. It's like, he's coming for us.
Yeah, man.
Unicron
that was
that boy
dope, man. They did. I was like Starscream, he had some good callbacks. They had some good callbacks to Starscream too, and what he was supposed to be, because that character's already enshrouded in a lot of interesting mystery. But I love that though. It's almost like, have you ever seen that season of the last season of the Clone Wars?
Some of it.
Okay, well, there's a scene like where Darth Maul is just freaking out because he knows it's gonna come, like with the whole Empire and Anakin's future and stuff. And he's like, "No, you have to stop him." He's like, "You don't understand." That's the same vibe I was getting with Starscream, where he was just freak out. Like he was just seeing all this stuff play out. And I'm like, "Yeah, this is cool." But one thing that I thought they were gonna do with Megatron, I thought they were gonna try to say that, the Allspark was corrupting, not the Allspark, but the Matrix of Leadership was corrupting him in a sense, and that he was gonna ultimately become Nemesis Prime. I don't know why. I thought that's what they were alluding to, but that, as we see, that turned out to be a little different than what I thought it was gonna be.
You talk about with Optimus becoming Nemesis?
Yeah, it's like I thought they was trying to say that Megatron was going to become Nemesis because he was holding that Matrix for so long, and I'm thinking that, okay, is the Matrix's energy not gelling well with him? Is he going to become like Nemesis Prime, like become a dark version?
I figured it would have been what happens to Optimus because Megatron had the Matrix, so like Optimus doesn't have it anymore, and then ends up being corrupted or whatever. But I mean, when we found out that Nemesis was from the future, dude, and you know what's crazy about that though? I didn't even think about that. That I did not think that the Maximals would not, like, I was like, how would they have knowledge of? It didn't even occur to me. I'm like, oh wait, duh, fucking time travel,
right?
How else do they know about Galvatron?
Exactly.
But it didn't even occur to me to be like, duh.
Right, because it's different this time around. Like back in the original series, they were 4 million years in the past, but in this one, they're so ahead of, like, they're in the future, which is cool. And then they're on even scalings with the characters, as opposed to
you mean the Maximals and the
Maximals. You remember they were in the prehistoric times. They were 4 million years in the past, and they actually saw the Autobots before they woke out of stasis at one point in the original series.
So this is what I'm saying. Because in the original continuity, it's Optimus and them land, and they get into status.
Right.
Then the Maximals and the Predacons come after.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then of course, after them, Optimus and them, they wake up in what would be the 80s, because Transformers was present day, right?
Yeah, I think it was the 2000s that they say.
Oh, was it in the future?
Yeah, it was the year 2000s when they wake up.
Okay, so the year's 2000. Okay, but here's the thing, though. And that's what I dug about how they did the timeline in this one, because the Maximals and the Predacons are the descendants, right, of the Autobots and the Decepticons, because that was so much earlier. But this story takes place before they normally would have woken up in the year 2000.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because they came from their timeline to go backwards.
Right.
And that happened because Galvatron went to their timeline. So that's what I'm saying. So like it's like, yes, they're the Autobots and Decepticons future, but they have information about even the future after them. So the way they did that was
that was genius writing, man. That's masterclass writing. Like, seriously, man. But like I say, like, another gripe that I think I would have to have about this series is, like, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Beast Wars, and like one thing that I love about Beast Wars is the weaponry. I feel like the weapons from the Beast era cast wasn't really utilized like how I thought it would be. Like, you don't see like those special weapons. Like, you don't see Dinobot's hand shield copter thing that he used to have that, kind of spin around. You don't see Optimus with the arm mounted missiles coming out, Optimus Primal. You don't see Rhinox's dual mini submachine guns that I thought were the most badass weapons. You don't get any of that, and you don't get those epic standoffs that you saw from the Beast Wars shows either, those epic standoff shootouts and stuff. So that's something that's missing from me,
I did appreciate, though, when Megatron transformed. When he was trying to when he was firing from Nemesis, and they was like, oh, you don't have any weapons. He's like, I am. And then I was like, oh yeah, because Megatron's a fucking cannon.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was weird though. I thought it was weird that they didn't allow him to fly, because if I'm not mistaken, Megatron could fly in the original G1 series. And I remember Starscream had said, oh, one thing that I got, I can fly and you can't. And that's what that's in the G1 too. Like, Megatron can't fly.
I
mean, he could fly. Like, he's flown in the G1. Like, that was one of the things that
on purpose.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things that separated the Decepticons from the Autobots. The Decepticons knew how to fly, and Megatron, he would be leading the charge and flying, The Autobots were more ground-based vehicles, and then they expanded. But yeah, Decepticons could fly. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't remember that being I don't remember that.
Oh,
which is kind of crazy. But then, but then again, I'm thinking of other iterations, because I know, of course, they made them all jets for the movies.
Yeah.
And then, if you remember the War for Cybertron video games, Megatron's a tank,
right?
Which makes more sense, as opposed to just being a cannon. It's like, well, no, because it should be a vehicle mode. Like, he should still be able to move. So it's like, yeah, they just made him a tank. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't remember him having a freaking.
That's like, even there have been multiple instances of him flying, and even sometimes he would use his arm-mounted cannon to give him like to propel him, or boost him off or something. But like I say, you never know. Like, this is an alternate timeline, so maybe they don't want to establish that. I thought they weren't even going to establish my boy Optimus Primal could fly, but then he used his jetpack. Forgot though, they did not want. I don't think they once they allowed him to use a retractable battle mask. You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime people talk shit about the Beast Wars show, I was like, how y'all gonna praise these live action incarnations, but they stole most of the swagger from Optimus Primal with the mask sliding up and down, man.
Dude, because now I'm really trying to remember like G1 models. Because you remember when Optimus gets his upgrade, when he can finally fly?
Yeah.
I was expecting Nemesis to pull that out.
Oh, really?
Because Nemesis is on the tail end of that series.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
So I was, dude, no, real talk. When they had the face off in front of that trench, I was expecting Nemesis to break out the freaking the rocket pack.
Yeah, jet powered Optimus. Yeah, I don't know, man. You know that's kind of going back to those Armada days when they was first utilized and stuff. So they probably would have had to go into detail about that, or they could just pull it out their ass. You know, some shit like that.
I mean, it's from the future,
right?
It's an upgrade we know he gets at some point, and since Nemesis is from the future.
right. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I could have, that could have been worked on, but for the most part, I think they did a good job. I just would have liked to see characters, like certain characters, get a little more spotlight, like Cheetor. Like I thought he could have been the equivalent to Bumblebee, or probably stole the show in this one, but you don't really see much of him. I like the dynamic they have with Rhinox and Wheeljack, two clever characters. You know what I'm saying? And I would have liked to see that too with like I feel like Shockwave, if they brought Shockwave into the series, you could have seen that play out with the other Spider character. I forget his name, but he was the scientist of the Predacons group. Two dark characters.
Yeah,
I forget his name, but yeah, that guy, that would have been dope to see. But you seem like you weren't too high on Dinobot in this. Like,
so the voice kept throwing me off, and that it was that character that had that story arc, like that character arc. I was kind of surprised it was him.
Yeah. I think they kind of keep most of the attributes in check in terms of, him just being an honorable warrior. But it seems like, I guess the way it was kind of executed was a little bit muddy, like I feel like they could have did a little better with that. But overall, though, I didn't really necessarily have a problem with him, in terms of.
Like it makes sense from a narrative perspective because Dinobot is essentially the Beast Wars Starscream, right?
Right.
Except as opposed to the traditional Starscream, this one he is he's like his motivations are ambiguous, but it's not because of it's not because he's like a sinister character necessarily. It's not just I want to overthrow whoever's in charge so that I can assume power. Like it's different with Dinobot, right? But they still made him that like gray type character, so it makes sense. I'm just surprised that they decided to do that character arc in this story.
Yeah, it's very quick. It's very breakneck. Like, it's like, okay, we haven't really done much to establish why he wants these things done or has these motivations, which is another one of those things, where it's just going to be like, oh, you don't have so much time.
It's one of those instances where they do ask you to bring what you know about the original series into this one.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, man, I wish, like I say, man, this goes back to what I said earlier. This should have been the first beginning. Like, if y'all was going to come out the gate like this, I wouldn't care about all the future, like what happened prior to that, because this foundation is so great. And we've seen the story play out so many times. We know they expect us to know a little bit about Transformers and how these things unfold, so it would have been great just to see more of those characters play off each other, since we didn't really get a chance to see that in full in the original Beast Wars series. I even like how they play with the Soundwaves little Beast cassette tapes. Like they even get their sign,
Yeah. So, that leads to the big sort of like cliffhanger. Well, I mean, was it really a cliffhanger? No, it was more like a post credit, right?
Yeah.
But essentially, where we leave off at the end of the season, because this whole story has sort of been like a prelude to Unicron. Right?
Yeah.
That's why Galvatron showed up in season 2 in the first place, was to warn Megatron about Unicron, right? And that's why the gold disc was so important. And that's why Starscream lost his shit when he found out, because he's like, we've been playing into this dude's hand the entire time. What's crazy about it, though, did you pick up on this? That's not the same Unicron.
Oh, really?
We find out how Galvatron and Nemesis Prime were able to do what they did. Unicron's the one that explicitly stated, he's like, using the dark universe to initiate time travel was risky. But now you've given me an idea. That's a different dude. That's a different Unicron. That's what I'm saying. Like it at that point, like I'm like, is it even time travel at this point? Or is it like legit like multiversal
stuff going on? Yeah.
Because that Unicron sounds like the one from G1.
Giving that Orson Welles vibe, huh?
You see what I'm saying? And the thing, but he's more proactive though, and that's the thing that kind of, because dude, actually, correction, he's not the one from G1. He's the one from the Armada series, trilogy.
Yes, it seems like very Unicron trilogy type.
Yeah, because he's way more proactive. Remember, the one from G1 was more of a force of nature. He just was, but this one, like, according to Starscream, he intended for all of this to happen. Like, essentially, he intended for the Cybertronian wars to occur because that was going to weaken. Essentially, he was taking out his opposition.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I said, like, dude, like, I was like, is this time travel or is this like alternate universe? Because that Unicron, it never occurred to him to use the dark universe for time travel. Right. And now he knows. And now he knows where because remember, because he plugged up Galvatron and Nemesis. He knows everything they know. So he is freaking coming, but he ain't coming to Earth. He's going to freaking Cybertron.
Right.
He's going to Cybertron. And so I'm like, okay, like, I'm pretty sure, because dude, I know they're going to do like a movie or something, right? Like,
they need to.
It probably won't be a season. It'll probably just be a movie or whatever. But consider this. We have the Autobots, the Decepticons, the Maximals, and the Predacons all on Cybertron. We've restored the Allspark so that the planet will begin to repair itself. And they all have a shared knowledge of that greater threat.
Mm-hmm. So
essentially, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's going to show up. And it's going to be all of them versus him.
Right. Yeah, man.
So yeah, I'm like, I want to check that out.
Yeah, I do, man. And like I say, Primus, the one that I mentioned earlier, he does appear in the Unicron trilogy. So I would love to see like a full-on transformation of him going up against a full version of Unicron. I'm pretty sure he looks cool. I had to look at the toy. Like, the toy kind of gives away what these characters look like. But I would love to see that play out, man, because they shocked me on different levels with this, especially with Teletran 1 becoming like a transformer, like kind of like a Metroplex in a sense. I was like, where the frick did this come from?
Dude, I thought he was turning into a Guardian.
A Guardian. Yeah. I don't know what he was turning into, man. It's like that's what he
reminded me of. I was like, oh snap, because they don't have Omega Supreme anymore. So essentially, it's like, Teletran is like turning himself into a Guardian.
Yeah, because he went ghost for a good minute. I'm like, where is Teletran and all this? Because he's the one that originally wakes him up up in the old show, but then they just come out of nowhere and they just flip it. I'm like, oh, like I want that toy now, Like,
yeah, dude, no, I thought that was cool though, because essentially he was like, yeah, I had to like reroute all of the power to afford me to be able to do this. Right. So it's like, man, it's like we've been trying to do. It's like, man, we've been trying to get this freaking car started this whole
exactly.
Like, oh, bro, no, that was cool.
That was dope, cool. Man. That was dope. This is what I love. I'm not a purist in any sense. I don't want to see things just beat for beat the same. But when you can just swerve an audience in that way, that makes it all the more better. That makes the series great. When you can just tell a different story and introduce characters differently.
That's what I said, dude. That's why I said, man, once I realized, I was like, oh, snap. Okay, we're doing alternate timeline. All right, no, I'm cool with it. Well, because the thing is, if that's the case, then we, again, like I said at the beginning, we've always been in an alternate timeline. Since Siege, we've been in an alternate timeline this whole time. And, I mean, it makes sense because Ultra fucking Magnus dies in the first season. Like we know it's like how so, but I didn't know that it was going to legit be because dude, even in season 2, when we get Galvatron in season 2, they play it for this metaphysical shit, right? Not knowing that it's like, no, it is legit time travel. It's straight time travel. And I'm like, okay.
Hell yeah. Time travel is one of those things, man. Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. But with this, it definitely worked, man.
It worked for this one. It worked for this one.
It really worked, man. Like if I were to grade this, are we gonna grade this one? Or
I mean, it's the best one of the 3.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, like if I want to grade it like a 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5.
I would do 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5.
And that's mostly because of
it's
some
such
of the cast choices. Some of the cast choices, and I would say the pacing of the last 3 episodes.
Right.
Because the first 3 happened, like the first 3 were perfectly paced. But we did slow down for those last 3. And I think it could have been a little bit tighter on the back end.
Okay.
Because the final battle felt rushed. That final fight felt rushed. And I'm like, but there were some other ones I felt that dragged on too long. I was like, yeah. So I would say 3.5, 3.75. So what is that? Like a C plus B minus.
Okay, I'm gonna go with I'll give it a 4. Or maybe like a low B, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's basically because my expectations were completely subverted. It's like it was just thrown for a loop. Like I was not expecting this quality of writing compared to the first 2 seasons. I think just the way these characters were utilized, particularly the Beast characters, was great. I really enjoyed that, and like I say, if they want to do a new season, maybe a new Unicron, I'm pretty sure it would probably still be the War for Cybertron. Or something along those lines.
I mean, it would be the Unicron saga of this timeline.
Right? Yeah. Let's hope, man. Let's hope these things manifest into something because I want to see that. But yeah, I'll give it a low B, man. Like I enjoy myself. Very good. It's just that it kind of suffers from that trope of just being a very condensed season. That doesn't have a lot of time to stretch its legs, but. Ultimately, it did do what it needed to do.
Yeah, that's true too. Because like in hindsight, looking at the whole trilogy in hindsight, like we could have cut, we probably could have cut half of Siege and probably half of Earthrise,
right?
And then, like, I mean, consider like even if you wanted to do that, right? You could have cut half of the previous 2 seasons, put them in one. Put this one as the middle one, and then Unicron could have been the third one.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah. But nah, man. I mean, like I said, dude, I think when the viewers see this one, they're gonna be like, oh damn, they actually like this one. Yeah, we approve. Check it out. It's good. It's good.
Hell yeah, man.
Hey,
Mr. Santo, man, I apologize for shitting on your writing, man. I know you was you had your hands cuffed a little bit in terms of how you had to do things, but you know how it is, man.
So do you want to know what's crazy?
What?
I kid you not, and I felt so embarrassed about this. The week after we did the Earthrise review, I connected with one of the writers on LinkedIn.
Really?
Yeah, he popped up in my suggestions because we had mutual connections.
Oh wow!
And I recognized that name, and I was like, oh, yeah, dude, I felt so bad. I was like, oh man. I was like, yeah, because we was harsh on Earthrise, man.
I was spitting hot fire. I went straight down line on those 2 seasons.
Hey, but they got this one though. They knocked this one out of the park. So yeah. All right. So real quick, because we got a few minutes left. Let me see. I see. My man Jakeem says I hate the alternate timeline excuse for butchering source material. Okay, I see that point.
Yeah.
I see that point.
Yeah, like I say, man, a lot of things are sacrificed, in terms of just building this story up and just setting stuff up in general. When you're tasked with setting stuff up, things are going to get just butchered in a sense. So I understand where Jakeem is coming from with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This is why a lot of directors do not stay on board with a lot of things. This is why the director to Bumblebee, I'm pretty sure he opted to not make a sequel or direct the sequel because
was it
Hasbro,
Travis Knight, I think?
Yeah. You can tell he's kind of tied down, and Paramount isn't sure if they want to have this new universe connected to the Michael Bay universe, and they're just going to be like, we'll just leave it to their imaginations to guess which continuity this is in, and
that's because they never finished the Bay ones, though.
Right. And then you got Scourge appearing in this new one and possibly Unicron, so they're probably going to be trying to do a course correction without letting us know until they start making big bucks at the box office again.
Crazy.
Because Bumblebee did not hit like it was supposed to.
Crazy. So we have a question from a man, DeJean. He says, Random Black Gamer, favorite Lupin series since you have the Lupin picture in the background?
Hey, man, it's a toss-up between part 2, which is like mostly based on nostalgia because that was my introduction into Lupin. But I would have to say part 5 is my definitive version because it's the only one that acknowledges all the other parts, including the movie specials. So I would have to say part 5. I really love that take on it, in terms of like technology and all that and the internet and stuff. So part 5 all the way for me.
All right. And then my man Adam Q, once again with his upteenth attempt at trying to figure out my top 10 favorite comic book characters. And you want to know what's crazy?
What's that?
I mean, I got to be a little technical about some stuff, but I will actually allow this to slide. He only got one wrong on this list. He only has one wrong on this list. Technically.
Which one is it? Like, what did he get?
So this is the list. He has Superman, Wolverine, Batman, Magneto, Captain America, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Leonardo, and Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner is the only one that's wrong on this. And but see, I said technically because the Ninja Turtles would be in my top 10, right? Or you know what, dude? Because to be honest, like 9, 10, 11, 12, they're a little debatable, The reason why I don't just automatically put the Turtles in my top 10 because I knew them long before I knew they were a comic. You know what I'm saying? But long before I knew the Turtles were a comic, I knew them from the cartoon. I knew them from the movie. When I was 3 years old, I had a Raphael toy. So dude, I went to what was it? What is it called?
Coming out of their shells.
The Coming Out of the Shells tour at Disney World. I went to that.
Oh,
I had just turned 2 because my little sister wasn't born yet. Because my mom was pregnant with my little sister. Yeah, and this was the summer of '91.
Okay.
We went to Disney World and saw the Out of the and my pops would still tell the story. He's like, you didn't care about no Mickey Mouse, no Donald, no Goofy, nothing. All you cared about was the Ninja Turtles. I want to see the Ninja Turtles.
Let me find out somewhere up in your garage you have one of those little throw out foam pizzas that they was giving.
Oh no, I didn't have any souvenirs. But so it's like part of me feels like I have to put the Turtles on the list, even though I was a fan of the franchise long before I ever read one of their comics. But if we're including, if it's like they should still count because they originated as comic characters.
Exactly.
If that's the only requirement, then yeah, they would be in my top 10. But like I said, I said I'm gonna be technical with Leo, with him specifying Leo, because I would put all of them on the list, but Leo is my favorite of the 4. So technically, Leo still suffices.
Cool.
Raph is a really close second. Well, actually, no. My second favorite character, no, it'd be Shredder. Shredder's my second favorite character.
Oh, Roku Saki?
Oh, yeah. I fucking love Shredder. Yeah. So Adam Q is just one guess away. And Adam Q, if you're still watching, I'm going to tell you this too, my man. again, I think you have guessed this character before. So he's about to get it. He's about to get it. All right. Let's see if we got any other. DeJean Patterson Power says Adam Q just asked for a top 5 DC characters on Patreon. I feel like I've done that. No, I did Marvel. I don't think I've done DC. I think I did Marvel. Yeah.
That reminds me, man. Were you interested in any of the Disney Plus Marvel shows?
I backed out after WandaVision, man. Yeah, dude. I'm kind of on a Disney protest right now.
Oh Lord, I feel you. I can kind of see the writing on the wall, so I'm.
Yeah, I'm abstaining from Disney and Marvel and Star Wars. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all the questions we got. Wait, let me see. What did DeJean? He says, his 3 DC characters. It's just like the other 2 that you're trying to figure out. I think Larry likes more DC characters. Hang on. Let me go to the list. The 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, actually, there are more Marvel characters on my list than DC. But Adam Q, I will give you a hint for the number 10. It is a DC character. So DeJean is right. My last favorite is a DC character. And he asked Larry, favorite Ninja Turtles cartoon. 2003 is good for me. That's mine. That's my favorite. Is the 2003 series.
Yeah. Well, you guys want to know mine? Mine's 2012. I mean, only reason why I say it because it's more consistent. You know what I'm saying? Back to the Sewer and all those the other 2 little last seasons I wasn't too particularly fun with, especially the art style changing.
For which one? For
2003 Ninja Turtles.
You talk about what was the name of it?
And fast forward, and you had Back to the.
Yes.
I wasn't particularly fond of those 2 series.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean seasons.
Me neither. Honestly, because don't they take place after the movie? After Turtles Forever?
I think so.
Yeah, no. I mean, dude, Turtles Forever is the cutoff for the 03.
I wasn't even fond of that crossover either.
It was quirky.
I was like, y'all didn't have to downplay the classic Turtles intelligence that much, man. They were not that stupid.
Yeah, that's true. And Adam Q actually said, do you think Charlie Hunnam could play an accurate Green Arrow with the goatee? Yeah, no, he'd be great for Green Arrow, but
oh yeah,
I think we should give Green Arrow a rest for a while. I mean, we did just have him for what, eight seasons?
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So yeah, it is time for us to get out of here because we just ran across an hour. So Random Black Gamer, man, what do you have? What are you working on? What do you got coming down the pipe? Let the people know where to find you, plug, whatever you like, good sir.
Oh, well, Larry, things have changed since the last time I did my little shameless plug. You obviously can reach me on my Random Black Gamer channel where I talk about video games and movies and anything that I feel like I want to talk about. And you can also check me out on my newly introduced channel, We Ain't Seen It Reactions, where I react with my fiance on different anime and openings and stuff like that. I'm back in the anime community, y'all. I'm embracing the Esper reviewisms. I'm back in and on there. And if you want to reach me on a social media tip, you can do so by checking out Random Black Gamer 88 on Instagram and Random Black Game without the R on Twitter. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah, nah, dude, I know because they trying to get me, bro. They trying to get me now because they came asking for me. They're like, Larry, man, we heard you like Demon Slayer. Oh, and you watching Jujutsu Kaisen. And we heard that you was going to check out Dr. Stone and Fire Force. And I was like, whoa. It's like, no, man, talk to us, bro. They trying to pull me back in, bro.
They are, man. I'm telling you, they got me, bro.
Back in.
They got me. I'm loving it so far, but one thing that a lot of reaction channels have is like they're at the mercy of their audience and they have to do things on their audience's time as opposed to just watching stuff when they want to watch it. So that's one of the biggest drawbacks. And I like having my shit to myself sometimes in the comfort of my own living space.
Yep, that's why Because yeah, like Demon Slayer, when I started watching that, I was supposed to do it like to fulfill one of the requests on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only supposed to do 4 episodes. And dude, like I think after the weekend, I had made it to like episode 8. And I was like, you know what, y'all? Like, I'm gonna push back the review because I'm just gonna do the whole series now, as opposed to just the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And dude, I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen because my man Nick over at Starbucks, shout out to him, he told me, he was like, Larry, dog, you gotta check it out. And yeah, I just got caught up in it. Darwin's Game, that was requested on the channel. It was only supposed to be 4 episodes. I ended up watching the whole damn thing. I'm like, I'm gonna review the whole thing. I just scooped up Promised Neverland just because I remember hearing people talk about it. So I was like, cool, I scooped that up. Now I'm watching Death Parade right now. I'm taking my time with that one, but I mean, you know, I'm already a quarter through that show. And dude, tomorrow, and I found out, dude, the freaking Shaman King remake drops on Netflix tomorrow.
Yeah.
Japanese and English dub. I'm like,
oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah, Netflix, man, they've been in their bag lately, man. You know, I'm looking forward to the latest season of JoJo, which they're going to be front loading all the episodes at the gate as soon as it airs on Netflix. And if they come out with a dub and a sub for that, they've officially reached God status for me. Like that's crazy, bro. Yeah, because they delivered the Rohan OVAs with an English dub, and those weren't even supposed to see the light of day out of Japan. But somehow Netflix got those and the Evangelion series. So I don't know what kind of magic or sorcery they're performing, but
you know what I need them to do though? I need those first 3 live action Rurouni Kenshin movies. Because they only got the last 2. And those were the ones that came out this year. It was this year and one came out last year, like at the end of last year.
So Netflix basically just stamped on their little quote unquote Netflix original thing, like after those movies that already been released. Like those last 2 movies, or those originally produced by them?
No. They're just distributing it.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I know they have a tendency to do that a lot with a lot of stuff. Like they'll just acquire them and they'll say Netflix original. So I wasn't sure.
No, because because part of the deal was, I think they already had the deal inked to get the last one, the Anishi arc one, but that got delayed because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time that one was coming out, the beginning, which is the Trust and Betrayal movie, essentially, that was getting ready to come out. So Netflix just went ahead and acquired the license for that one. And then they put them out, you know, one after the other.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I would definitely, because that's one of the reasons why I've been so reluctant to react to the live action movies with my fiance. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure those aren't the first 2 entries. Like the first movie, so I would like to wait, or I'll probably have to stream it from a DVD or something like that. I don't know, but yeah.
All right, cool. All right, and so what's coming down the pipe? You know, coming down the wire with me. So tomorrow, because I just got done finished watching it this morning, I'm about to blow your heads up. I did watch The Suicide Squad. Yes, I did. I watched it this morning. Well, I started watching it last night, and then I finished watching it this morning. So I will be doing my review of that tomorrow. Same time, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then I'm thinking Tuesday, if the schedule works out, because Tuesday is the only way I can squeeze it in before next weekend. I might have a top 5 for you guys coming on Tuesday. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And as always, you know, follow me on social media, facebook.com/OAW Entertainment, twitter.com/OAWENTMT, twitch.tv/OAW_entertainment, right here on youtube.com/OAW Entertainment. And last but certainly not least, if you have yet to do so, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW. I am now accepting new requests for reviews and for videos. I got multiple tiers on Patreon, so go ahead, check those out. And of course, as you guys know, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. All right, time for us to get out of here. With that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief,
And this has been Esper Review, aka the Random Black Gamer.
And we will catch you cats later. We're signing off. Peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?